Alright, we're going to look at more Core Set 2020 spoilers. I guess the full set has now been revealed. So this is going to be another marathon video for sure as we look at basically the other half of the cards. Let's see, we'll do full, sorted by... They don't sort by spoiler date anymore, I guess, because now it's like the full set. But that's okay. We've seen quite a few cards. Quite a few cards aren't going to be that interesting, so maybe we can get through this in like a reasonable time. Alright, sure. I think we saw this before. Yeah, it creates the Pride Mages and stuff. Neat, neat. Nicely synergistic. Ancestral Blade enters the battlefield, create a white one. Wait, what? Blah, 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 blah. Alright. More colored equipment, colored artifacts. Kind of fun. I like it. Nicely flavorful. This one we talked about before, that I was surprised they went back to this wording. That this is a 4/4 for 3 flyer in Commander just right away, but like, I guess that's really not too crazy for Commander. Showing gift, a reprint, very cool art. Hostile of Purifying Lights. Pro black, exile target card from the graveyard. Okay, well that's kind of neat. But it's like, as a beater, it's subpar. As a graveyard hater, it's subpar. And even as a graveyard hater beater, it's very subpar. But it's still pushed enough that it's like worth considering in certain standard matchups, I'm sure. Italian Foot Soldier. Okay, so that's like the Squadron Hawk type mechanic. I think they're quite careful with this sort of thing. Ever since Squad Hawk dominated Standard, this doesn't look like it'll do the same. Bishop of Wings, we saw this before. That kind of angel synergy is kind of cool. Brought back. Choose up to 2 permanent permanents to put there from the battlefield. This turn, return to the battlefield tapped. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so before we had cards like Second Sunrise and something else. something to do with like Ancestors or something. Rally the Ancestors? Is that it? Or is that a different card? But those are mostly good because you were doing gigantic combo turns where you're sacking like dozens and dozens of permanents and then getting them all back and sacking them all again. To just do 2 seems kind of bad. I don't know if this will be really... The fact that it was put there from the battlefield this turn is really awkward too, that it can't be like you just mill into it and then you extract your combo pieces like this. And I feel like anything that involves like 2 cards specifically as a combo, you're going to be like running through the loop so many times that having just 1 instance paid for somewhat cheaply like this is probably not worth it compared to like your regular engine of getting them back. So I don't see this being combo good. In terms of like fair, in terms of just making a fair play with this, it actually seems quite decent. It's quite pushed. It can lead to like a real blowout where you block, however, everything your good guys die, and then you bring them back and you win on the swing. You win on the swing back. I don't know. It's yeah. As a fair card, this is more than fair. Maybe it'll see some play. It's just kind of value. This we saw before. Sorry. This I don't know if we saw before or not, but it's kind of cool. An angel at common. Oh, excuse me. Kind of helps with the angel tribal synergies in limited, which is nice. And in limited, I think this is actually quite a good pick. The gaining 4 life is so useful. Just the flying 3 power. Okay. Daybreak Chaplain, sure. This is nice art. This is like very traditional looking art, like kind of old school Magic art. I think we saw this before, yeah. Sure, reprinted a million times. Ooh, alright. Well, that's nice removal. This is removal that gets around quite a lot of stuff. given that there's creatures with protection from exile, or rather they have a replacement effect for getting exiled in Standard now, like the War of the Spark Gods, I mean. This is one of the few things that gets around that. You just terminus them. Yeah, I could see some sideboards running this in response. Well, I don't know. This is assuming those gods are played in Standard. I really don't know if they are or not. Sure, our little French vanilla double striker. Alright, it's fun. Gauntlets of Light. Okay, well, anytime you have something like this, it's kind of exciting. Like you can go infinite with the right combination of cards alongside this, but geez, it's really kind of tough to imagine. This is quite exciting too. Glaring Aegeus. Alright. God's Willing. Oh, okay, so yeah, this is really showing that they're bringing back protection in a fairly major way. Alright. Sure. Sure, more Griffins. We saw this before. I think we saw this before. But again, we can, as I've said before, it's kind of interesting the way that angels usually don't have angel tribal synergy explicitly, but just flying creature tribal synergy, which I think is kind of cool. Feels somewhat flavorful. Sure. Seems very expensive. Sure. The ley lines, of course. We saw this before. This is so exciting. Sure. Oh, ooh, Master Splicer. I wonder if Blade Splicer? No, we've already scrolled past where Blade Splicer would be. Blade Splicer is the one that's like quite strong. The other ones were not really huge, and the Golem synergy never really got off the ground. But I think it's a neat idea, and I really liked when they made that. What's it called? Like Splicer's Sense or whatever. The Splice card that was made a Splicer-esque Golem token in Modern Horizons. All right. Sure. Sure. Yeah. I didn't know this was such a valued reprint. I guess it was a rare before. Sure. Oh, this I don't think we've seen. You may pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than play this spell's mana cost. Flying, lifelink. Other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. Well, that is quite a winner. You can play this quite quickly, quite cheaply with like things like Lingering Souls or the millions of cards that make little birdies. Can get this down probably turn 3, 4-ish, maybe. And then all of your other guys are indestructible. Lifelink too. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see somebody try that deck. It's so brain dead that it feels like it can't possibly be as good as it seems. But it sure would be funny if this was actually like a route. Just bird token spam. You play Bop too. And then big finisher, Sephara. Okay. Salamander, alright. Squad captain. Yeah, that's not bad. This can get really big. Sure. Saw this before. This card really excites me. I'm not really sure if it's good enough to be an engine on its own. It's just like something must good. Something good must come from this. Something must good. Sure. Yeah, okay. These guys. No, it was the other one. There was like another vanilla creature that kept getting reprinted, and the flavor text just kept changing to like different insults involving the creature. What was that? That was fun. Alright, sure. Ooh, gain control of target permanent. If you control 3 or more permanents you don't own, draw 3 cards. Ooh, alright. So I doubt this will ever be anything in actual constructed. but I would love to see an EDH deck or kind of like a casual level deck revolving around just stealing tons of stuff, drawing a shit ton of cards. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know. There's like not very many like cheap ways to steal things, which makes this really tough. Yeah, it's kind of like you only start getting those effects permanently at like 5+ in blue, generally speaking. And the red temporary ones usually end at the beginning of your end step as well. So I'm not actually sure. Like if you do something like those 3-mana red 1-turn betrayal spells on a creature, would this trigger counting those? I don't know. Anyways, this is a very exciting card. I kind of wish that it was like nerfed, like maybe get rid of this, make the stats weaker, and just see how cheap you can print this effect. I think that would make it a lot more compelling, because then it kind of comes down early enough that it can really be a good card drawing engine for like the rest of the game, and not just kind of like a really novel way to win more. But I don't know. It's still cool that they're playing with this space. Air Elemental, sure, it's an absolute classic. How far back does this go? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at this. Same air elemental. Same air. Anticipate, classic, sure. We saw this before. I think this one is super cool. Befuddle. Alright. Yeah, you got befuddled, alright. Bone to Ash. Ooh, okay. Okay. Boreal Elemental. Really feels like this should be a snow creature. That's kind of one of the unfortunate things about snow as a mechanic, is like you want to kind of keep these sort of Arctic aesthetics on the table, but then you make something like this and it's not a snow creature. It's like, no, that's too bad. And of course they can't just make it a snow creature, because all of the people who are buying their very first Magic cards would go, what the hell is a snow creature? And then all of their friends would put their minds together and come up with some bizarre, terrible rule, like you can only play snow creatures if it's below freezing outside where you're playing the game. And then Morrow would have an empathetic headache from halfway around the world. It would split his skull in two. It even says Winter's Breath given form, but not snow form. Anyways, this card's fine. Alright, that's quite fun. And you can flash it in and then do some other stuff, and it gets really big. Yeah, I think this is actually really, really fun. And it's a good lesson for players that are new. The value of doing things on your opponent's turn, specifically waiting for your opponent's end step, holding up mana that entire time to kind of bluff them out of various things. It kind of it gives you a direct reward for kind of thinking about those things. Probably making you a better Magic player. Yeah, I like this thing. I really like this thing. Alright. That's enough of that. Sure. Ooh, the Cavalier of Gales. Not people named Gale, but wind. There's a battlefield, Brainstorm, okay. When it dies, shuffle it into its owner's library and then scry it too. Well, that's quite a lot of value. Quite a lot of card selection. The fact that it has the shuffle effect is kind of nice, because if they kill it right away, they're essentially helping you do a good brainstorm. Like if you don't have a fetch effect or something else that will let you shuffle the dead cards away yourself, if they're too eager to get rid of this, it does just the same thing for you. So they're almost incentivized to keep it alive for your next 2 draws, just to try to lock you out of action. But then, of course, you also have shuffle effects at your disposal, which is what makes brainstorm effects so great. It's a pretty solid beater. Like, I mean, the triple blue is sort of restrictive, but if you're playing kind of a mono blue permission type deck with a lot of cantrips and such, you're churning through your deck quite quickly. You're finding these when they die, getting them again. You're brainstorming. This is kind of your top end. This is how you actually win the game, is by beating down with this. It's very hard to get rid of. It's evasive. It's flying. It's a 5/5. Yeah, this is like the complete package. I don't know what more you could want from your kind of top end mono blue threat. I think this could definitely show up in the right deck in standard. Alright, this is kind of fun. It's pretty cheap to get an effect like that, and in certain matchups, this is gonna just save your life. I wish you could flash in though. That would make it a lot better. So yeah, this is, I guess, really kind of anti-burn. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Big mana drain. This we saw before. I think it's very neat. The art is so cool. A Dungeon Geist. Such a spooky reprint. Sure, that's fun. Saw this before. Nice. And a big crab, of course. Frilled Sea Serpent. Okay. Fun. Frost Lynx. Another thing that feels like it should be a snow creature, but whatever. Hard cover. Ha! Ha ha. Because it's like a book. The book is, yeah. Yeah, you know what's up. Alright, that's fun. Gets to loot. That's nice. This, of course, cool card. This we saw before, very cool card. Metropolis Sprite. I love the flavor of that. This sounds like quite the wacky world. Sure. Ooh, moat piranhas. Oh yeah. Oh man. A while ago my dad was telling me that he somehow got watching videos of piranhas feeding. And I was like, oh, you know, for all the jokes about it, for the number of times I've seen like it in cartoons or whatever, I don't think I've ever actually seen that. And he was like, oh yeah, you gotta check it out. I totally forgot until right now. Okay, after this I'm gonna watch some piranha videos. Alright, that's fun. Nice flavor. Sure, we saw this. It's very cool. Of course, Negate, classic. Octoprofit, best card name in the set. Hands down. This we saw. This we saw. This we saw. This Millie Man. Sure. This we saw. Ooh, sleep paralysis. How flavorful. Sure. Sure. This is always an exciting line. Non-tap, repeatable draw. Yeah, this is all right. Ooh, okay. Target activated ability, triggered ability, or legendary spell. So this one is kind of all over the place. And I guess what you got to find out is overlapping how many decks does this hit something significant. Triggered ability is quite nice. This can stop stuff coming out of the graveyard in response to things. This can stop other synergistic stuff. Activated ability, of course, can hit so many things. Shut down their fetches, shut down their Griselbrand, or just straight up counter their Griselbrand. Not that anyone actually casts Griselbrand, but I don't know. It's got quite a lot of utility. It's very cheap. This flavor text is quite haunting. The art is cool. This is a card that I hope kind of becomes a classic. Probably sideboard only, but I could imagine there's quite a few kind of disparate decks that just this hits like kind of weak corner cases and stuff, shuts them down on key turns, just does a lot. I'm really curious about it. Okay, unsummon, classic. Warden of Evos Isle. Oh, okay, some more creatures with flying synergy, which I guess is in blue-white, as you would expect. Winged Words. Well, isn't that quite fun? And it becomes actually quite strong in this sort of flying synergy deck. I think if you were playing flying synergy, this would be a good one to stock up on in limited. Yorick's Wave Crasher. Sure, this is helps you with all sorts of little synergy things. Zephyr Charge, alright. So again, flying synergy, neat. Agonizing Siphon, alright. Audacious Thief. Oh, okay, alright. This is pretty good. Vanilla Vampire. She's wearing quite revealing clothing for the kind of modern era of Magic. But I guess this is a reprint of a 2011 art. Is that really what the power and toughness look like? For some reason that looks really weird to me. The box is that large. I guess I don't really remember what cards of that era look like. Blade Brand. Okay. This we saw before. I think this is really cool. Like, I don't know if this is enough to try to fight hardened scales and affinity and stuff, but it's something. It's an interesting way to go about fighting it. Alright. Blood for Bones. Okay. Another Seb McKinnon amazing, haunting, surrealist nightmare world art. Just fantastic. I feel like this isn't good though. It's too slow. Pay 2 life, discard a card, saga creature, 5/5 demon creature token with flying. Yeah, okay, so it just kind of genericizes the demon line of play that you're sacking a bunch of stuff. But you know, this, well, it's quite expensive. It's kind of cool though. It's pretty exciting. Playing only as a sorcery too. Yeah, it's excitingly flavorful, but this is not a card, I think. Sure. Very rare to see such a cheap creature with flying in black. Usually only the... Well, I guess there's like the imps and stuff can fly. Sure, sure. Sure, 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 sure. Sure, 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 sure. Ooh, okay, okay. So it's not a full cycle, but I guess a couple colors got the caval. Oh wait, no. I guess it is a full cycle because we saw the white one too. Okay, all right, that's cool. So I guess they're sort of like the Titans or the soul of whatever equivalent for this core set. I think that's fine. I mean, kind of introducing these big top-end-ish creatures that just generate like a ton of value is probably very exciting for new players. I feel like we're never going to hit the power level again of the Titans, but they can kind of flirt with that power level area in a way that's quite exciting. So when it enters the battlefield, you may sack another creature. When you do, destroy target creature an opponent controls. Nice. When it dies, return target creature card with convert mana 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So presumably you're getting rid of your cheapest creature, and then you can just bring it back with this unearth type effects, not the mechanic unearth, but the card unearth. Yeah, all right. It's not quite as exciting as the blue one, I think. Well, I don't know. Like, the fact that if you don't have another creature, it just doesn't really do all that much. It's just a 4/5 lifelink card. I don't know. It's alright. It's not as... I don't know. It just feels like the blue one just synergizes so well with, like, the rest of your deck, regardless of what your deck is. Whereas this is, like, you kind of have to try to set up, like, nice combos with things that you want to sack, things that you want to recur, blah, blah, blah. Certain matchups like this won't matter. It's a lot more situational. Sure, classic. Swamp enters a battlefield. Draw a card and lose 1 life. I think we looked at this before and I said this sounds really cool. I still think this seems pretty cool. The stats are pretty good too. Yeah, I don't know. This is quite interesting. You kind of want to be playing mono black. But then it shores up a lot of the weaknesses that mono black might have. Kind of like targeted, persistent removal, things like that. I find this is any target is so nice. It's not like you're just waiting on your removal cards now. You actually just have kind of a way to establish board control just by playing swamps. And of course this is so nice. Alright, Duress, of course, a classic. Embodiment of Agonies. Flying Death Touch enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. Whoa! So cool. So cool. Okay. So, in some crazy self-mill deck, where you dump your whole hand, your whole library into the graveyard, and have like dozens of permutations, this comes down as like a 3 mana 15/15 or something ridiculous. But then, you know, this is a very, very heavy deck building constraint. Not just that you want to have this diversity of mana cost between the cards you're playing, but you're trying to run like as many singletons as possible in order to diversify your mana cost array. So this is really more of an EDH card, I would imagine. I think an EDH where you're forced to play singletons of everything, this wouldn't be as crippling a deck building restriction, and would actually be really, really interesting to see how you would build a deck like that. I don't think it's good. I think it's way too restrictive. If it wants to be like really powerful, and if it's not that powerful, if you're just playing this as a 3 mana like 4/5 4/4 or something, 5/5 maybe, it's like not great. There's other things you really ought to be doing, but it's a super interesting card. Yeah, I like it. Epicure of Blood. Okay. Nice. Fathom Fleet Cutthroat. Sure. Feral Abomination. Sure. Spooky. Big Vulture that mills or something. Sure. Oh, Gravedigger got new art. This guy finally got a break. So everyone has said that it looks like he's holding a cup of coffee. I definitely thought that too, that he was holding a cup of coffee. So I guess this is the one that was an ammo cat, yeah. Alright. This is a good card. In limited, this is like something you're never sad to pick up. Sure. Going wide mechanics in black aren't that common, but I guess there's like some synergy with like rats and stuff. With that mechanics like that. Knight of the Ebon Legion. Oh, maybe I saw this before. Yeah, I think we saw this one before. It's kind of cool. Legion's End. Oh, yeah, we saw this. Yeah, it seems, I don't know. Very, very situational. It could be a big blowout. Leyline of the Void, of course, big money reprint. Very happy to see that. Mind Rot, you already know. Murder, you already know. Noxious Grasp, now you know. Rotting Regisaur we saw before. I was hoping there was a whole cycle of these drawback dinosaurs, but I think there's only this one and the red one and a green one, maybe? Sure. This we saw before, and I praised it for what seemed like hours. What a great card. Sure. I saw this before. I was kind of interested. Seems pretty pushed, but only in this sort of vampire tribal. It's interesting to see if that'll actually be a deck ever. But you know, like, this is big money. There's big boys coming down swinging. Right. Saw this. It's kind of neat. Sure. Seth McKinnon. I knew it when I was scrolling down. I'm like, who else? Who else could make something like this? This feels like very classic Magic art too, where it's like what's happening seems more symbolic and kind of mystical and almost like an illustration in a book, rather than just a clear scene from life in a world consistent across many cards. I really like that. Okay, Vampire of the Dire Moon. Oh, we saw that. Vengeful War Chief. Alright, that's kind of fun. Art, very intense. Ooh, big demon. Okay, I thought there would be a big demon somewhere around here. They kind of hinted at the idea of a big demon too much. Flying. Pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. Now that is quite an exciting line of text. The fact that you can pay some life right then and there is quite nice. It's an 8/8 flyer for 8. But likely you're going to be wanting to cheat this bad boy into play somehow. Yeah, this is quite the card. I mean, it's no Griselbrand, who also has an ability that basically does this, but all on his own with no extra mana or anything. But it is quite exciting. And in the right deck, it's going to draw you a ton of cards. That's just it, though, is that you don't really want the right deck. You just want any deck. You want a deck full of cards you want to draw, not a deck full of cards that make you pay life or like ramp you into a big guy or do any other synergistic stuff with this. But it's quite exciting. I think this is a very cool card. Yorick's Fenlurker, we saw that. Active Treason, this is what I was talking about before. Like, does this count for that person we saw before? The I'll Steal Your Stuff mage? I don't know. Here we go, another Cavalier. Maybe we saw this already? Maybe? Jeez, I can't remember now. Yeah, like, I think I remember this and this. So yeah, this is pretty good. The stats are quite intense. Kind of a big red deck, you can give it haste quite easily. Just blow them out. Even if they kill it, it does a lot of damage. Yeah, I don't know. This one seems quite pushed. They're all kind of like nicely synergistic as the top end of their decks. Yeah, okay. Saw the Chandras. We saw her cat. We saw her outrage. And we saw her thingy. We saw her elemental. And we saw her goblin buddy. Yeah, okay. Alright, oh, we saw this before. It's got a bit of potential. Dragon Mage! Hell yeah! Me and my boy in uncommon. How times have changed. Also interesting that the art is like zoomed in. You don't get to see his full wings anymore. I wonder why. Why did they change that? Ooh, new big dragon. Alright. I guess there's like a big iconic creature for each color. It's a legendary. Like we have the legendary Sphinx, the legendary Angel, legendary Demon. You know, this guy. So we'll see a legendary Hydra in green, perhaps? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty nice. This is a lot of damage. Just clears out their board. Probably just wins you the game. Very basic, but you know, it's a core set. Saw this. This is another classic. Take this one all the way back, just like the water or the air elemental. Used to be Burning Lady. Now it's Burning Man. Not the festival. Flame Sweep, sure. Fry, we saw. Glinthorn Buccaneer. Whenever you discard a card, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Ooh. Ooh, activate this ability only if it's attacking. That's a lot of fun. And that also very nicely teaches people about the idea of doing things while you're attacking, which again can be very strategically advantageous. Lead to some big blowouts, what have you. Alright, very cool. Stats are okay. Haste is nice. This is like fairly cheap for a rummaging ability. Yeah, this kind of has it all going on. I like it. We saw this before. We saw this before. We didn't see this before, but this is kind of nice, especially with the goblins that do big stuff when you hit, like Goblin Lackey. This is nicely synergistic. Sneakery North Thiefiness. Oh yeah, this is so much fun. There's so many layers to this flavor. Sure. Sure. Ooh. Huh. She's got like a shirt. I didn't think elementals wore clothes, but you know, good for her. That's what she's into. Alright, sure. So this before, pretty neat. Sure. Oh, we saw this before, yeah, this was the red drawback dino. But also upside dino. Yeah, this one's really cool. Ooh. Alright, so this is kind of like a pseudo-living weapon they've done with the white sword as well. Of course, the white sword wouldn't ask you to do this. Sure, it's nice. Ah, alright, that's a lot of fun. So I think there's a card like this in every color too. This is a cycle of things caring about that same color name. The white one fetched, the black one cared about how many other ones had died, the blue one, I don't remember. Alright. Oh, okay, so I heard about this. That the way treasure tokens work has changed. And I don't know if there's any situation where this is relevant yet. But there could be that I'm not thinking of. But at any rate, it used to be that you created a token named Treasure, and it told you to create it with that ability. So treasure tokens by default did not have any sort of abilities. It's just that anything that made a treasure token, or a gold token for that matter, always made one that had this ability that you tap and sack and add something of that color. So same with clues. Clues by default don't do anything. They're just tokens named clue, and it's the ability of the thing that makes them that gives them their ability to be sacked to draw a card. But now it looks like going forward, these are just going to be special types of tokens that always will have those abilities. So again, I don't know if this has ever mattered. I don't know if there's some really weird situation where you can like stifle the ability granting aspect of it, but not the token generation aspect of it, so that you just get a useless token or something. And like, I mean, Magic is a crazy game, so it wouldn't shock me if stuff like that was possible. It wouldn't shock me. I would let it enter untapped, or tapped. And all right, let's just move on. Felt like making some sort of joke, but what's the point? Saw this before. There's two cards in this set where a goblin kills a bird for really no reason. Sure. This we saw before. This I'm like super excited by. I really want Stormdex to try this. I want this to be like insane. I think it's on the verge of being insane. Ripscale Predator. Okay. Scorcher. Okay. Scorch Spitter. Bleh. Bleh. Cute. Shock. There we go. That's the joke I was trying to make earlier. Tectonic Rift. A modern classic. By that I mean not played in modern, but whatever. Thunderkin Awakener. Whenever it attacks, choose target elemental card in your graveyard with toughness less than its toughness. Okay. So you want to like buff this thing up. The fact that it cares about toughness is really weird. Red usually cares about attack, and red usually has stuff to buff attack. Sometimes you'll get square buffs, like that buffs the toughness the same amount, but usually the focus is on attack, or there's like fire breathing granting and stuff. So this is weirdly unsynergistic. You're gonna end up getting... Oh, wait a minute. I see how this is. All right, here we go. This is the key search. Check this out. So we want elementals. With toughness equal to 1. So I think there's actually quite a few of these. There's quite a few X1 elementals. Like I think Ball Lightning is a 6/1. So now I'm starting to see it. It's not that you're just getting your little piddly elementals back, but you're getting some big boys. You're getting your Arc Runner, and it sacks itself, and then you just get it next time. You're getting your Ashenmoor Leech. You're getting your Ball Lightning. You're getting your Blistering Firecat. You're getting your Bloodpire Elemental. Or your... Wait, why is this here? Oh, because it transforms. Your Conifer Strider. Ooh, Flicker Wisp. Oh boy. Some crazy things could start happening with this. The Groundbreaker. The Lightning Skelemental. The Igneous Pouncer. Alright, I'm getting it. I'm getting it now. This thing. This thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this could actually be like a deck. This plus as many big balls as you can muster. That would be quite interesting if that actually became a deck. It's got haste, so there can be big blowouts with this. You just play a few of them, get a few balls back. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm kind of into it. Sure, I think we saw that. Sure, really nice art. Oh, here's Cavalier of Thorns. Gets you a land, hopefully. Exile it, put another card. Okay, alright, okay. God, these little flies. I guess I should just shut my window. It's probably not worth it. It's like these little flies that can crawl in through the small holes in my screen. They're very annoying. I mean, it could be a lot worse. At least they're not loud. But it's still like, nah, I should do something with that. Anyways, yeah, this looks fine. I guess with green, it's sort of different. But this isn't your top end if you're playing mono green. This is kind of like your mid-range. So the fact that it ramps you is still nice. The fact that it's kind of gearing you up, like getting other threats going is quite nice. But yeah, it can't really do a whole lot to close out the game by itself. You're still going to play your actual fatty later. But yeah, okay. Little Vanilla Centaur. Oh, this elf guy is pretty cool. We saw him before. Sure. So cute. Ah, I love it. Such good flavor. Ooh, here we go. Here's our legendary Hydra. Hydra spells cost 4 less to cast. Holy. Whenever a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. The stats are outrageous. 8/7 Vigilant for 6. Yeah, this is the big boy. This is the one that you're fetching another land so you can play next turn. It's kind of interesting that it has this line, given that I'm pretty sure this is the only Hydra that's going to be in this set. I don't know what Hydras are even in Standard right now, but if there can be Hydra Tribal in Standard, better believe. That I'm going to be cheering for it whenever I can. Just these guys. So when you're reducing an X cost, I think it works the way you kind of like want it to, right? Like you say, I'm playing this X equals 4, then this reduces things by 4, so then you just pay green-blue to get Hydroid Praxis on 4. Right? I think? So that's quite a play. Problem is, you know, this comes down as your 6-drop, and then it makes things cheaper. You can already play a 6-drop. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see it. I want to see a modern deck with this, and the guy that's like add. You know this one? You can only this thing, Rushing Meander. Yeah, let's get big Hydras with this and this. I think that would be a lot of fun. Gift of Paradise, nice, sure. Being one Sentinel, alright. Sure. We saw this. This is the cares about the same card. Sure. I like that they're doing this kind of like a little Easter egg that a lot of the flavor texts are from this one. Lament. It's quite beautiful. Howling Giant. Sure. Well, that's fun. He brings some buddies. Ah, ooh, alright, that's fun. He's very intense with his green mana. Sure, we saw this before. I think this is quite exciting. Maybe it goes in my Hydra Tribal deck. Or maybe not. Yeah, this is alright. Big spider. Not giant spider anymore, but mammoth spider. It's the new hotness. Sure. This is really good in the right deck. Sure. Ooh. So this is Werewolf Synergy, you know, because you want to do this to flip your werewolves. You're getting even more wolves. And you have 3/3 wolf on the turn that everything flips. Big deal for you. The fact that you can flash it in is really nice. So you flash it in on your opponent's turn, and then on your turn you just do nothing. And get your wolf and stuff. Maybe flash in another one on their turn. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. It's not like this is going to make or break wolf or werewolf tribal, but you know, it's pushed enough that it's like, I'm sure those decks will want to run this. I would think, and then it's going to make them a little stronger. I would think. So it's something, you know? This is something beautiful about Magic, is like, there's all of these fringe decks that just like every few years they get a little something. Just a little something. Bit by bit, you know, maybe you wonder, like, maybe eventually this will get there. Probably not, you know, because everything else is also getting stronger, and things that are actually getting direct support over a set, or things that Wizards wouldn't have even thought this support because it's just some bizarre game-breaking synergy. Those things will probably always outclass it. But you can kind of see them marching along in the back. You know, these werewolf decks just want to get there someday. Overcome, sure. Good game-winning card and limited. Saw this before, sure. Sure. Well, that's quite nice. I'll keep you alive. Gosh. Well, then. Well, that's not going to taste very good. Should have seen the look on both their faces. Yeah. I like this one. We talked about this before. I like it. Sure. This is really fun. Was this on the flavor text before? Yeah. I kind of remember that. Ooh, alright. That's a lot of fun. It's okay. I think the power level's not quite there, but it's nice. Hey, here we go. This is our downside dino? No, it's not. It's all upside dino. Stats are good. Pro blue, can't be countered. And this is really nice. Like, this helps you out so much. Yeah, this thing is pretty nice. Nice little beater. I'm seeing a really wonderful curve for mono green beats. You know, even though the Hydra doesn't give you any synergy in this hypothetical deck, you still play it. It's still just big beats. And then, of course, you put your Gorilla in there, too. Sure. This is nice. This is becoming a bit of a staple, it looks like. Well, I guess this is, like, the first proper reprint of it, but I like this card. I like this idea of, like, the dinosaurs having this sort of primordial, savage magic that they can use. Oh yeah, we saw this before. It's kind of neat. I love the name. I love the flavor. I just wish he didn't have such like an edgy look on his face. It was more like beautiful and serene. Anyway, cool. I don't think we saw this before. This is okay. This isn't actually that exciting, I think, because you still have to pay for it. And this doesn't like ramp you at all, unlike other Vivians. But this is still quite exciting, especially at the kind of casual level where you're not pulling from your sideboard, but you're just grabbing any creature that you own throughout the history of the game. I think that's really fun. So this is a fantastic casual card. But yeah, it's not like super ulti, you know? At first, I think this would be a more exciting card if it was like -8 or -10 or whatever it would have to need to be, that you just grab the creature card and slam it into play. But yeah, and I mean, this is really good. This is very useful. It's okay. I kind of don't think it's getting there, though. Voracious Hydra. So we do get another Hydra. Cool. It works with your big Hydra. I think we saw this before, actually, so I should have remembered, but whatever. But yeah, it's nice. Vort's Claw. Okay. Just a big man. I saw this before. It's pretty cool. This is fun. A little bit more wolf tribal. I like all of the little bits of creature tribal that they put into this set. There's nothing that's going to make like really complex board states the way that if you have like big tribal synergy decks fighting each other, you end up with. But there's like little things you can stitch together in drafting or whatever. That's very intuitive for a new player. Like, oh yeah, this thing cares about wolves. This thing makes a wolf. Hey! And I think, you know, kind of opening yourself up to seeing those little synergies is such a key part of falling in love with Magic, so I like it. I like it. Yeah, here we go. Another wolf. Oh yeah, so this is part of this cycle of enchantment that sort of living weapons itself. Get some gold cards. Saw that before. We saw this before. I think we saw this before. This thing looks really cool. Yeah, I think we've seen all of these. We saw this. This guy's crazy. Again, less exciting than the other Kalia that just slams stuff into play. But the two of them working together, even though it's a bit of a flavor mismatch, will do all sorts of work. Kethis, the Hidden Hand. Legendary spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Exile 2 legendary cards from your graveyard. Until end of turn, each legendary card in your graveyard gains. You may play this card from your graveyard. Goodness me. Wow. Wow. Okay. This feels like EDHE. This feels like not something that has actually like big game-winning synergies. I think it's a little slow for that. And of course, the legendary rule makes this awkward in non-singleton formats. But I feel like, I don't know, it's like legendary tribal. It's not something you encounter too often. I mean, this is pretty cool, though. I don't know. What I want to see is like some sort of like legendary cube or something that would really support this. I think in the right sort of cube format, this would be a very exciting card to play. Saw this before. I think this thing is sweet. I hope it sees some play somewhere. Sure, it's pretty cool. String the same places as many times as necessary. Sure, that's fine. Sure. We saw Omnath before. It looks like there's a full cycle of these 3-color. These are not wedges, but shards. Shard legendaries. Sure. We saw this. Maybe we saw this. Yeah, sure. We saw this. That's quite cool. It's like a big kind of payoff and good kind of flavor connection between so many different things in this set. Very, very neat. I just love the idea of like, of course, you know, because this is the only way I really consume this game. I go through and I look at every card. But, you know, imagine that you're just a kid and you don't have access to the entire spoiler, and you're just buying packs, and you're reading these Lament for Balageds, you're seeing stuff referencing Yarok, and then somehow, someday you encounter this card, the actual Yarok. And you're like, what? What the hell does this mean? But it's exciting, right? Yeah, I think it's exciting. So we're into artifacts. Sure, this is a new Pokemon. It's called Corviknight. Oh, Bag of Holding! Wow! They're like really explicitly referencing some D&D memes here, which I guess it's their right as a company to do because it's both WotC. But wow, I never thought it would be this explicit. Whenever you discard a card, exile that card from your graveyard. Draw a card, then discard a card. Sack it. Return all cards exiled. All right. Well, this is wonderful flavor. A really fun card to play. In Limited, I think this just does all sorts of work for you. Probably a little too slow for any sort of constructed format. It's quite expensive to get all your cards back, but yeah, this is a lot of fun. I kind of wish it was just like even if you milled into your graveyard, it would also go into the Bag of Holding, because then you can actually get like a ton of cards coming back when you use this ability. But I'll take it. The art is really fun too. Oh yeah. Oh, this is just it. This is so great. Holy crap! +10, +10, and loses flying. Wow, now that is a whole lot of fun. So, could this be in contention for decks that want to like cheat equipment on this stuff? So what's that called? Card called. What's that card called? Pure Steel Paladin. Correct? Yeah. So you have this guy going, you're playing a ton of 0 mana Cheerio equipment. You play this one, you equip it for free. Now you have a 12/12 Pure Steel Paladin. That seems not bad to me. I mean, that deck usually has different win cons, but it's kind of hard to argue with just like a 12/12 that's coming to smash you with a gigantic hammer. Alright, I love everything about this card. I hope that there's some synergy with this. There's a few other cards that do stuff like this too, I'm pretty sure. Stoneforge doesn't, right? It's like you just put it onto the battlefield, yeah. So here it's like the opposite. You want expensive stuff that has low equip costs. Diamond Knight, yeah, we saw that before. It's like Hoseki no Kuni. Woo! Alright, well that's a lot of fun. So of course you rig this up with your tops and your brainstorms and other such trickery. And then, yeah, you try to draw 3 cards. Now it is quite expensive. And if you don't kind of have the synergy set up, then it's probably just going to keep doing nothing for you. But yeah, it's fun. And the flavor is quite fun too. You saw this guy before. He's very cool. Very, very exciting ability. Woo, Grafdigger's Cage. Back in Standard, one of the most efficient graveyard haters they ever printed. I remember when this first came out, people were like so pissed off. Because they were like, whoa, it's a graveyard block, a graveyard block. Like, you're giving all this wonderful graveyard synergy. And then they're just like, just try it, my guys. But it didn't really break Standard. Like, graveyard decks were still powerful in that Standard, and it didn't break Limited by any stretch. So I think this is like a good level of power for Graveyard Hate. Clearly Graveyard Hate is not working yet when you look at Modern and stuff, so you just gotta keep trying. We saw this. Yeah, okay. This is alright. In the right sort of like very churn through your deck, play a bunch of creatures type thing. This is nice. The art is really cool. You can see like a Hydra, an Elk, some other creature types that you're probably not going to choose. There's a Dragon. You might choose Dragon. But I'm thinking you choose like Elf. And this just kind of like gets you through dry spells of hitting elves. I don't know. It's probably not good, but it's neat. Sure, it's no Voltaic Key, but it's something. Oh my god. I think when you move into an apartment building that has an open parking lot like that, like not an underground parking lot, but one that's just out in front of the building, on your lease, you should agree to disable your car alarm. The number of times people's car alarms have gone off out there for like an hour, and it's like, what can you even do? They might not even be there. Like they might have just left their car there. It's like a weapon, like a terrorist weapon. Sure, it's kind of neat. In Limited, probably a lot of decks will want to pick this up just because they want some sort of fairly universal interaction. Look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or colorless non-land card. Ooh, alright, well that's quite fun. It's like some advantage. This is very useful. Yeah. I don't know. It's very flavorful. Very kind of iconic. Pattern Matcher. Whoa, that's what we are. Whoa, it's like a golem that's learning to love. Oh, alright, that's fun. It's a very flavorful ability with the name and stuff. Get a little bit of golem synergy. Flavor text is hilarious. The whole concept is great. The art is wonderful. Love everything about this card. Sure, a little mana filtering buddy. Sure, we saw that before. Alright. This is kind of interesting. It's like they're flirting with the outer edge of KCI again. Not that this will make or break it, but it recalls it, you know? It recalls it in a way that I thought maybe they'd be afraid to. There's our Scarecrow. Ooh, Steel Overseer. Now that's quite a reprint. That was getting expensive. A lot of decks run this, like your big Hardened Scales type decks especially. Gets hard countered within this set by that little beetle though. But yeah, this is This is quite the card. Sure, another Golem for these little minor creature tribal synergies. Saw that before. The gain life duels. We saw this. Falling Wilds, of course. We saw this. This is kind of cool. Sure. Whoa, wow. Huh. Ooh. So, it's got hexproof. I think this might be the first time a land has had hexproof. Am I right? Ah. Oh, lose hexproof, lose hexproof. This actually just has hexproof. This becomes a creature with hexproof. So that's kind of cool. So I remember the previous card that was like this, which was called Lotus Valley, Lotus Vale. Yes. The wording had to be very specific so that people didn't cheat around this restriction. Sacrifice 2 untapped lands instead. If you do, put it onto the battlefield. If you don't, put it into the owner's graveyard. So here it enters the battlefield tapped, which I guess is what gets around this. Like, the thing here is that you could play it, not sack the lands, and tap it before it died. And then it's essentially just Black Lotus again. So they fixed that by having the CTB tapped, and then this can be a little cleaner. And if you want to like stifle this or whatever, I think you can. And actually, if you just play this as your first land, you don't have to, right? Like, you can just play this as your first land and then nothing happens, right? Or do you have to sacrifice it? I think you can just play it. So this is actually quite exciting. This could actually be a very powerful card. When it enters the battlefield, so it's already entered the battlefield? Unless it's a land that you might have to sack? Yeah, I kind of think so. I feel like they wouldn't let you just play this as your first land and then on top of the black, like Gilded Lotus, basically. But still, like, playing this on turn 3, it isn't that bad. And the fact that it doesn't, you don't have to untap lands like this. So on your third turn, you still get 2 mana. And then on your next turn, you start kind of going crazy. I don't know, man. This is a very, very exciting card. I think this has a lot of potential. Because there are ways to get around this, I'm sure. It synergizes with that big angel buddy that doesn't let you sack stuff. Yeah, alright. Yeah, alright. Sure. And then the Scry Temples we saw. Sure. And then the basic lands. And then the Buy a Box promo we saw before. These are the Planeswalker deck. Planeswalkers. Okay. This is not really much of an alt. Sure. Probably wins you, I guess. Sure. Oh, look again. They're doing this again. They're Mu Yanling. Sure. Woo! Now that's fun. That's very fun. Seems not bad. Again, these vampire tribal Sorens. It's like not really. I'm very skeptical, but like, if there is some vampire deck that exists, it seems like they'd be very good in it. It's just they're not enough to actually make that a real deck. Sure. Yeah, a 4th Chandra. So how many Chandras are going to be standard legal? Like 6? Let's find out. So there's 4 and it won't show up. And then another 2. So yeah, 6. 6. That was a good guess. Yeah, okay. This is what you expect. It's also what you expect. Sure. Nature's Avenger. Sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Alright. I mean, this is pretty big. Let's get stuff big in a hurry. Sure. Well, that's fun. Dinosaur Knight. Sure. Okay. That's all. That is all. Good set. A lot of pretty exciting cards. A lot of things where it's like really unclear. You know, they're such a simple effect, and they seem as pushed as they could be. So now we have to just kind of judge, like, is this something that decks have actually wanted to do? Which is sometimes quite hard to figure out. But yeah, okay. I guess next is the new Commander sets, which probably is starting like sooner than later, like probably sometime in July. So I will see you then.